Yeah. And I see Valerie. You know, it's,
Hi.
do you remember Romper Room when they used to go, and I see Jane, and I see Mary, and I see Tommy, and I, this is adult Romper Room. We're going to romp around the room a little bit on our mats. Find your yogic seat. Find a comfortable way of connecting with the earth down through the sitting bones and tailbones, tailbone, either in a folded blanket or on a cushion. And from that base of support, lengthen up through your spine. Let the heart spread a little wider open in that gesture of being ready to receive, maybe even turning your palms up on your lap. Let the crown of the head lift to the sky so you connect with what is vast and expansive around you, what is limitless. At the same time, you are rooted and grounded in what supports you and grounds you. Down through the tailbone, up through the crown of the head, long in the spine, and open in the heart. Take a deep breath in, fill all the way up, in through the nose, fill all the way up into the chest. Get really full, see if you can sip in a little bit more breath. And a little bit more, get really full of life energy. Hold, hold, hold. Feel that prana seeping into every cell. And then exhale with a sigh. Let it go and release anything that does not need to be here in the mind, in the body, or in the heart. And another deep breath in, sip it in through the nose, fill all the way up like you are a vessel into which that life energy is being poured all the way to the brim. Hold, hold, hold. Celebrate that life energy in you and then release with a sigh. Let any edges soften that need to soften. Let any letting go happen that needs to be offered out. And one more deep breath in, sipping into fullness, coming into fullness. Feel that breath surround your heart with prana. And let it go with a sigh. Be fool not, O night, the morn will break. Beware, O darkness, the sun will shine. Be not vain, O mist, it will once more be clear. My sorrow, forget not, once again joy will arise. Once again joy will arise. These are the words of the great Sufi master, Hazrat Inayat Khan. Be fool not, O night, the morn will break. Beware, O darkness, the sun will shine. Be not vain, O mist, it will once more be clear. My sorrow, forget not, once again joy will arise. Once again joy will arise. Begin to invite in your deep three-part yogic breaths, in through the nose and out through the nose. Filling all the way up into the chest and emptying all the way down to the belly, drawing the navel in toward the spine at the end of your exhale. And with a gentle contraction of the throat, the back of the throat, you can invite in your ujjayi, ocean sounding. Be fool not, O night, the morn will break. Beware, O darkness, shine. Be not vain, O mist, it will once more be clear. My sorrow, forget not, once again joy will arise. Once again joy will arise. And just breathe that in, that message of hope and opening to possibility, with the awareness that everything, every situation, everything that occurs is in a state of flux, is in a state of change. Nothing stays the same. Once again, joy will arise if it's not here right now. I want to share with you these words from Eckhart Tolle that I found, and this statement really resonated with me. Many of us are needing to face every day that feeling of uncertainty. When will I be able to go back to work? When will things return to normal, whatever that is? Or what will the new normal be? There's a lot of uncertainty that we're learning to dance with right now. And Eckhart Tolle said, if uncertainty is unacceptable to you, it turns into fear. If it is perfectly acceptable, it turns into increased aliveness, alertness, and creativity. I'm going to read that again. If uncertainty is unacceptable to you, it turns into fear. If it is perfectly acceptable, it turns into increased aliveness, alertness, and creativity. So let's use our time together today in practice to cultivate that aliveness and that creativity and alertness through breath, through movement and awareness. Let's set that intention together by bringing the hands together in front of the heart, palms joined in prayer position. And taking a deep breath in, let's join our voices together in the sound of Om. And letting the eyes open with a soft focus, come off of your cushion and find your way into child's pose on your mat. Letting the sitting bones slowly, gradually, taking your time, sink back toward the heels. Belly folded over the thighs or resting between them if the knees are spread wide. Hands reaching out toward the front of your mat, forehead touches the mat, or if you need to place a block or blanket or support underneath your forehead, you can do that. Let your heart soften down to the earth. Take a few more deep, long, delicious yogic breaths here in your child's pose. And as we bring our bodies into that posture, physical posture of making an offering, I invite you to bring into your mind and heart any dedication, prayer, or offering you would like to make this morning as we begin our asana exploration. Bring that prayer or affirmation or dedication into your mind and heart now. A long, slow, deep breath in. Feel all the way up into the chest. Exhale, offer it into the earth. And then bringing your inner thighs together, let your belly rest on your thighs and bring your hands back behind you. Interlace your fingers behind your low back, thumbs kind of resting in the sacrum area in Yoga Mudra. And we'll seal that intention by coming into kneeling Yoga Mudra. If you need to put a folded blanket under your head, you can do that. Otherwise, lift the hands to the sky, straighten the arms, feel that nice shoulder stretch. The heart opens, the shoulder blades move toward the center of the back and roll up onto the crown of the head, bringing the hips over the knees, thigh bones are straight up and down, hands reach to the sky in the seal of yoga, sealing your intention. And maybe giving the crown of the head a little massage as you rock forward and back if that feels comfortable for you. Reach the clasp fingers skyward. Squeeze the shoulder blades toward the center of the back. Big breath in, and then release the hands to frame the side of the head. Press up into your table pose. From table, take some nice, slow rounds of cat-cow with long, deep breaths. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the tailbone tilted back. Press the low belly toward the thighs, spread the heart. Exhale, press the floor away. Round the spine and draw the navel in. Sweeping long breaths with Ujjayi breath, brushing the back of the throat. Find your own range, full range of motion in your spine with your cat and cow. And then bringing the spine to neutral, slide the right foot back. So you're going to curl the toes under and press out through the heel. Press down and forward into the hands so you feel some activation in the back of the right leg. You can feel that calf muscle stretch. You can feel the bottom of the foot stretching. And then let the shoulders once again come over the wrists and slide the right foot as far over to the left as you can. And curl up into that half moon, crescent moon shape, bringing the left ear to the left shoulder. You're going to press out through the ball of the foot. So you've got your toes curl under. You're pressing out through the heel, actually, but you've got the ball of the foot making contact with the floor. Expand and open through the right side of the ribs. And get deeper into that crescent moon shape. And now we're going to make a footprint on the wall. On the inhale, slide. Going to lift and draw that right foot all the way over in line with your hip, pressing out straight to the right side. The leg is perpendicular to the body and parallel to the floor, like you're making a footprint on the wall. Try to keep your hips level. Big breath in. Exhale. Come back into that crescent moon shape. Inhale once again, footprint on the wall, press it out. Exhale back into your crescent moon. And then on the next inhale, draw your right toes straight back behind you. Your left fingertips reach forward. So you're coming into a table balance, finding one long line from your right toes to your left fingertips. Feel the core muscles activate here, drawing in toward the center. Everything is one horizontal line, including the back of your neck. So keep your gaze straight down. Big breath in, expand. Exhale, contract, round into a cat stretch, forearm to thigh, chin to chest. Inhale, expand. Exhale, contract and pull that navel in. Round the upper back. Inhale, expand. Reach and lengthen. Exhale, contract. Squeeze out all the breath. Inhale, expand. And hold here. Try to see if you can grow an inch longer across that diagonal line from toes to fingertips. Big breath. And then bend the right knee. Reach the left hand back behind you. Grab your foot and find a bow kick. If this doesn't feel available, both hands can come down and you can just press your toes up. But try to get the knee higher than the hip. If you can grab your foot, then you're taking a nice bow kick, getting a beautiful back bend here, opening through the chest, lifting the knee high, lift the gaze. Big inhale. Release and float that foot down again, back behind you. Curl the toes under. We're going to take it into a twist now. Press the right palm down under the shoulder. Let the left hand reach to the sky. You've got a long line from your right hand to your left hand, right through the heart center. Stacking the shoulders on top of one another. Exhale. Thread it through, so you're going to reach your left fingertips across, under, behind the right arm, to the right side of your room, bending the right elbow. So it's like a thread the needle. Inhale, open up to the left. Exhale, tuck it under, reach through to the right. Inhale, open up, heart to the left side of your mat. Exhale, reach it through. See if you can tuck your left shoulder under your right here as you reach those left fingertips through to the right. Inhale, opening up into that twist, that half circle twist one more time. See if you can drop the right hip down a little bit more and then take it into a bind, reaching your left hand back behind you to your right hip. Roll the shoulder open, look up at the sky. If you want to take this bind a little deeper, maybe slide your fingertips on the left hand underneath you toward your navel. Rolling that left shoulder open, and then release. Come back into your table pose and bring the knee underneath the hip. Just take a moment to take a rest in child. Find your breath. When you come back to that child pose, is always a good opportunity to return to that dedication or prayer that you brought into your mind and heart at the beginning of your practice. And we'll take that same sequence on the other side. Inhale, rise up into table pose, and slide the left foot back, press out through the heel. Press down and forward into the hands to juice up that stretch a little bit. Feel that calf muscle wake up. Bottom of the fascia on the bottom of the foot, wake up. Breathe into that. And then the shoulders come over the wrists again, arm bones stacked, and slide that left foot as far over to the right as you can. Curl up in that crescent moon shape. Bring the right ear to the right shoulder. You want to look down beside your right hand rather than back at your foot. If you look back at your foot, you're getting a different kind of stretch in your neck. You want to stretch along the left side of the neck, so just tilt your right ear, toward your right shoulder. Expand through the ribs on the left side. Let those ribs smile open with a deep breath. And on the next inhale, draw that left foot over to the left side, make a footprint on the wall. You're going to kick out. If you need something gentler, you can take a hydrant pose, keeping the knee bent. Otherwise, see if you can keep your foot at the level of your hip rather than letting it sink down toward the floor. That's the challenge. Exhale into the crescent moon side stretch. Inhale, footprint on the wall, press it out, flex the foot. Exhale, crescent moon side stretch. One more time, footprint on the wall. Nice and strong. You're going to feel this in your glutes later or tomorrow probably. And then straight back behind you into table balance. Feel the core light up and activate here. Find one horizontal line as you reach the right fingertips forward, left toes back. Abdominal muscles drawing in toward the center. Back of the neck long. Reach forward through the crown of the head. Back through your tippy toes on the left side. Big breath in, expand and contract. Exhale. Inhale, expand. As you contract, the forearm and the thigh touch and the navel pulls in and the chin comes to the chest. As you expand, you try to grow a little bit longer, even if it's just a millimeter. One more round. Inhale. Exhale, keep that Ujjayi breath going. Inhale, lengthen out. And then we'll take it into a bow kick, opposite hand to foot. So bend the knee. Either both hands come down and you just press up, or if you can reach your back foot, toes point toward the sky, lift up and kick back. Feel that yummy back bend. Activating here, big breath. Exhale, release, and curl the toes under once again. Float the left foot down. And we'll take it into a twist. Press the left palm into the floor. Let the right hand rise. Stacking the right shoulder on top of the left. Growing long from the lower hand to the upper hand. Exhale, thread it through. You're going to bend the left elbow as you tuck the right shoulder under. Inhale, open up to the right. Exhale, thread it through. Inhale, open to the right. Exhale, thread it through. This time we're going to hold and take the bind. So open out to the right. See if you can drop your left hip a little bit more. So we bring the twist into the low back. And then bringing that upper hand, that right hand back behind you. Either back of the hand to the left hip or slide the hand underneath so your fingertips come toward your navel. Roll the right shoulder open, look up at the sky. And release. Coming back into table, maybe taking a couple of rounds of cat-cow. And if any, I know some of you are having wrist issues, it's always fine to be on fists when we do anything in table pose here, if that's more comfortable for you. Another way that you can modify for wrists is you can place 2 blocks right where they would be under your shoulders and bring your forearms to the blocks. And that can approximate a table pose if it's uncomfortable for your wrists. Okay, everyone. So from here, curl the toes under and press back into your downward facing dog. Press down and forward into the fingers and thumbs. Get a nice long diagonal from your tips of your fingers to the tip of the tailbone. Engage that Uddiyana Bandha, gentle abdominal lift here as the navel draws in and up. And one at a time, send each heel down to the earth, letting the opposite knee bend, taking your dog for a slow walk. Breathing into it, enjoy and explore. Downward facing dog. See if you can find a little more space in the upper back between the shoulder blades by externally rotating your upper arms so the armpits just slightly turn toward one another. Lots of breath here, in and out through the nose. If at any point you need to take a rest, you can always float the knees down and come to table or child. Come into your full expression of downward dog here. Long through the upper back, middle back, lower back, long through the arms, long down the backs of the legs. Unless you need to take a bent knee variation, that's fine. And on the inhale, come into the top of a push-up high plank. Press out through the heels, power up the legs. Exhale, lower down knees, chest, and chin with the buttocks up in the air, hands underneath the shoulders. Pressing into the palms and pulling them back isometrically, coming into a baby cobra. Just lift the chest, power up the legs, and root the tops of the feet and the toes into the mat. Get as much lift as you can here without pressing into the hands. Draw the shoulders back. Your heart is leading like a beam of light is shining forward from your heart center. Then release the hands and reach them back behind you. Clasp the hands if you can into snake pose. And notice if that makes your feet lift. You want to stay energized in the legs. Stay rooted with those toes. Squeeze the shoulder blades toward the center. And then, if you want to make a conscious decision to lift your toes, you can transition into locust pose. First, reach back through the toes so the legs are getting really firm and powered up, and then peel them off, peeling off the feet, the ankles, the shins, the knees, the thighs, and breathe. Maybe letting the edges of the mouth turn upward slightly. Breathe and enjoy. Reach those clasped hands back. It's also fine to have hands separate if your shoulders are tight. One more breath. And slowly releasing, let the legs float back down to the mat. Hands come under the shoulders and just bring the forehead down. See if you can release in the low back, maybe wiggling your hips side to side for a moment. And then press up into a cobra, either baby cobra again or full cobra, peeling the whole torso off if that is comfortable for you. Soften your shoulders, draw them back. Big breath. And release. Roll down, forehead touches. And curl the toes under, press up either through your plank or through your table. Back to downward facing dog. Land in your downward facing dog, find your breath. And we're going to put that together in a flow with breath. Coming forward into plank. Inhale. Exhale, knees, chest, chin, buttocks up in the air, toes curled under. Inhale, cobra of your choice, low or full cobra. Exhale, release the cobra and press back to downward facing dog. From here, let's walk the feet to come between the hands. So you're coming into a forward bend, folding over the legs, take as much softness in the knees as you need to. And let the spine just pour out of the pelvic bowl, let the head be loose. Find some movement of the head. Letting go breaths. And taking a half lift, slide the fingers up the shins to just below the knees. Find your parallel line with your spine, the horizontal line from tail to crown. So notice if you've got any rounding in the upper back and see if you can correct for that by bringing the shoulder blades toward one another. Spread the heart, draw the shoulders in a reverse shrug away from the ears. Navel lifts in and up, so you've got that gentle Uddiyana Bandha supporting you here. And exhale, release, fold into forward bend again. Drop the hips halfway, bring the hands into prayer position, and we'll take just maybe 5 minutes here in chair pose. Kidding. Just how about 3 breaths? So sit down in your chair. Notice if you're trying to stick your butt back like that, and see if you can maybe even look at your screen so that you can see, if you can see yourself at all, to notice if you're more in a real chair-like position. Imagine that chair underneath your butt and you're just hovering over the chair. You don't want to sit down on that porta potty seat. Just hovering. One more breath. And then the arms reach and rise. Fingertips reach to the sky, reach to the right, reach to the left. Palms come together and draw them down back to the heart. Returning once again to your intention and your breath. In the world of all the uncertainty that's spinning around us, let this posture here and this returning to the breath be a refuge in the whirlwind of uncertainty. Your own presence and breath, a refuge. And moving through vinyasa sequence here. On the next in-breath, let the arms reach and rise. Reach to the horizon, spiral open, reach to the sky. Arch back, heart, hands, and gaze skyward. deep dive into your forward bend. Take a half lift, flat back, long spine, engage the navel in and up. Exhale, fold. Here, I invite you to step back. You can either take a little jump, hop back, or you can step back 1 foot at a time into your plank pose and flow through vinyasa sequence. Some of you may be ready for your chaturanga to up dog sequence if your spine feels warmed up enough for that. You can take that. Otherwise, knees, chest, chin to cobra. Meeting in downward dog. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, release. Tilt the low belly toward the thighs. Press down and away with the fingers and thumbs and roots of the fingers and thumbs. You want to keep the heel of the palm of the hand a little bit lifted. Not lifted that you can see, but that's not where you want to bear the weight. It's more fingers and thumbs. Inhale, right leg sweeps up behind you, three-legged dog. Long line from fingertips to toes. Exhale, step it through, low lunge. Slide the left knee back. Inner thighs activate toward the center. Sweep the hands forward and up, coming into your kneeling warrior. And either bring your hands into that sword-like temple pose, or hands open in that gesture of celebration. Tuck the tail, lift the navel, big breath. Exhale, hands back behind you and clasp. Spread the heart wide open. Big inhale. This is a wonderful gesture of courage as a way to be able to cultivate meeting that uncertainty with courage and faith. Releasing, and bring your hands to your thighs. Pivot on the kneeling knee so you open up into a kneeling warrior two. So, hips are open, as in a warrior two pose. So you're going to draw the outside of your right knee toward the right pinky toe. So you feel that nice inner thigh stretch and hip opener. Open wide through the heart, soften the shoulders down. Then turn the right palm up and take it into a dancing warrior. Maybe hand on the hip here, reaching up, reaching back. And keep that bent knee. Don't let the knee sort of flop to the inside. Keep that leg active. Big breath, exhale, back through warrior two. And slide the right foot forward. So you're going to come into preparation for gate pose. Slide right hand down your right to your right shin. Lift left hand to the sky, taking a side stretch on this side. Parigasana, the gate pose. Maybe bringing the back of your right hand to the inside of your calf and pressing a little to keep the torso rotated open. Exhale, float the fingertips down on the left side, and from tippy toes to fingertips, grow long into a half circle. As you reach long, see if you can open the heart and the belly and the head, the face to the sky. Maybe taking a big circle with the shoulder, spiraling the whole torso open to face the sky. And that gesture of yes, I am ready to face this uncertainty. Here I am. And then let that upper hand, your right hand, come down. And this is where people get screwed up. So you want to let your fingers do the walk-in around the left side of your mat. Around the left side of your mat to face forward and straddle that front foot. You're going to keep that front leg long now, outstretched. Heel slides forward, so you're in a kneeling runner's stretch. Lengthen out over that leg, be on fingertips or blocks, and bow down, leading with the heart. Lengthen, and on the in-breath, from tail to crown, exhale, lead with the heart. One more breath here. Rolling the right foot down back into your lunge. Straddle that right foot, curl the left toes under, lift up, and take a few pulses here in your high lunge. If you need to have blocks under your shoulders, you can take that. Lifting the hips, straightening the front leg. Exhale, land in your lunge. Lift. Imagine there's a string around the back of your heart, kind of lifting you up so the chin comes to the chest. Exhale back, land in your lunge, and we'll take it into a revolved side angle. So you're going to place your left palm under the shoulder, right hand rises to the sky. Heart turns toward the right, keep inner thigh active toward the midline. Exhale, release. Step back into your plank pose. Flow through the vinyasa of your choice. So maybe it's knees, chest, chin. Maybe it's chaturanga to upward dog. Maybe it's just taking a moment in child's pose. Whatever you're needing, listen to your body. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. We're going to take that same sequence on the left side now. So once you've returned to down dog, find a three-legged dog on the left side, lifting the toes high, heart stays low. Press down and away, down and forward with the hands. Gently step through, come into low lunge and slide the right knee back. It's fine to use blocks under your shoulders if you need that. Root the pelvis down into the earth and lengthen through the spine. Inner thighs active toward the center, hands sweep skyward. Find your expression of the kneeling warrior. Exhale, courageous warrior. Remembering that if uncertainty is acceptable to you, it cultivates aliveness, alertness, and creativity. Releasing and opening into your kneeling warrior two, you'll see it from the back now. Draw the outside edge of the left knee toward the left pinky toe. Open up through the heart center. Soften the shoulders down. And then take your dancing warrior. You can take your right hand to your hip, lift your left hand to the sky, and take it into that lovely side stretch. Exhale back through warrior two, straighten the left leg, take it into Parigasana gate pose. First reach up with the right hand, so you're finding length first before you come into the side bend. And if you notice that your tush wants to go back, then see if you can keep that fold happening in the hips. Keep it from happening in the hips by drawing the hip pointers toward the right side of your mat, the long end of your mat. So you keep everything in one plane. And then taking it into a half circle, tippy toes to fingertips, see if you can grow an inch longer across that left side of your body. Big breath in and maybe taking those circles to the sky. Big wide circles with the arms as a gesture of saying yes. Yes to the unknown. Yes to that uncertainty. Yes to what's showing up right now. Opening heart and belly and face to the sky. Yes. And then letting the fingers do the walking around the right side of your mat until your hands come to straddle that front foot. Square your hips to the front, maybe sliding your left heel forward a little bit. And take 3 deep breaths here. Exhale. Bow down, leading with the heart. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Leading with the heart, just offering yourself into this stretch rather than pushing on it. Just meeting your edge with love. We're going to take it into a high lunge now. So roll the left foot down, curl the right toes under, lift up, and either on blocks or fingertips, find those pulses, straightening both legs, landing in your lunge on the exhale. Inhale, lift like there's a string behind your heart, like you're kind of a puppet on a string. Exhale, land and lengthen. One more. Lift up, exhale, land and lengthen, and take it into your revolved side angle. Toward the left, keeping your left knee firm over the ankle. Grow long and wide, like the shining sun, and rays out, shining out in all directions. Exhale, release, step back into your plank pose, and flow through your vinyasa as you choose. Meeting in downward facing dog. We're going to take it into a standing sequence similar to what we just did down on our knees. So inhale, right leg sweeps back behind you, three-legged dog. If you want to take it into a hip opener here, you can bend your knee, lift your right knee to the sky, try to kick your own asana, as they say. Keep pressing down and away with the hands. This is all optional. And step through into high lunge and spin the back heel inward 45 degrees. Rise up, warrior one. Again, you decide what kind of expression of warrior one you want to take here. Celebrative with arms open wide, or that sword-like expression with a fierceness. You just want to root the tailbone down and lift the navel in and up. Be long enough in your stance so that front leg can come as close to a 90-degree angle as you can get it. And hands back behind you, courageous warrior. In the face of uncertainty, courage, cultivating aliveness, alertness, and creativity. Taking humble warrior, making an offering. So you can either just go part way here, or you can bring your shoulder, right shoulder to your right thigh, or inside your right knee, hands to the sky. Then release the hands, and we'll wheel open into warrior two. So you're going to sweep that left hand down and away and wheel open warrior two. Nice open hips, tailbone roots down, soft shoulders. Take your expression of dancing warrior on the next inhale. So maybe your left hand slides down the left leg, or maybe you want to grab the back of your head, that ridge at the base of the skull, letting the elbow come straight up. Maybe you want to take a bind here in your warrior two, bringing the left hand back around you to grab your right thigh. So take your expression of dancing warrior, and then exhale back into warrior two. Inhale, straighten that front leg, preparing for Trikonasana. It's kind of the standing expression of the gate pose. Draw the energy up right through the soles of the feet, up through the legs, up through the core, and then tilt the hips. Right hip tilts down, left hip lifts up and rolls back. Core firms, so you've got a long spine from root to crown, and a long line from your lower hand to your upper hand, right through the heart center. If you want to take a variation here, you can reach that upper hand over toward the front of your mat, upper arm in line with the ears. Big breath. Reach for the golden cord hanging down. Let it draw you up. I'm going to come right back into your warrior two. From your warrior two, forearm to thigh, dip the left hand down and away, roll open into your extended side angle pose. Everything in one plane here. Like you're between two panes of glass. If you want to take a bind, your upper hand reaches back behind you. Back of the hand to the right hip, or slip your pinky in the hip crease. Grab your thigh, roll open the left shoulder, look up at the sky. And then releasing, come back into your lunge. And we'll step back into your plank pose and flow through your vinyasa as you choose. Taking a rest if you need to in your child's pose. Meet in downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg reaches up back behind you. If you want to kick your own asana, you can take that. Lifting your left knee to the sky, rolling open the hips to stack left hip on top of right. Exhale, step it through into a lunge. Spin the back heel inward 45 degrees. Rise up into your warrior one. Tuck the tail, reach fingertips to the sky. Soften your shoulders in that gesture of courage, whether your hands are open or clasped. Hands back behind you, interlace, spread the heart wide. Arch back if you can, looking up at the sky, and then taking that gesture of humble offering, humble warrior, your expression of humble warrior. Maybe it'll just be a diagonal line from your heel to your crown, clasping hands, that's fine. Or maybe the crown of the head can just about touch the mat for you. Keeping that back leg strong, rooting through the outer edge of your right foot into the mat. Release the hands and wheel open into your warrior two. If your front thigh is fatigued, you can straighten that leg for a moment as you lift up and exhale, land back into your warrior two. You want to line up your left heel with the instep of your right foot here, with the center of the arch. Take your dancing warrior, whatever your expression of that is for you, whatever you played with on the other side. Big breath. And exhale. Release back into your warrior two. We're going to come into the triangle pose, so straightening the left leg. Engage first, Pada Bandha, the lift in the arches of the feet. And let that lift draw up the legs, draw up to lift the kneecaps, engage the quadriceps. Firm up the core, lift right up through the core, and send that energy out the fingertips. And then from here, taking your expression of Trikonasana, triangle pose, which just like the gate, you can either lean on your shin if you need help, if you need support, or for a little more strengthening of the core, engagement of the core, bring the back of the hand to the inside of the calf and just press. And that will bring your whole body into one plane, encouraging the torso to stay in line with the hips. Grow long and wide, maybe taking that variation here with the upper fingertips reaching toward the front of the mat, past the front of the mat. And then you can grab the golden cord hanging down, let it slowly draw you up into warrior two. And from your warrior two, taking your extended side angle. Feel the Uddiyana Bandha lift, activate here. And from the outer edge of your right foot, rooting down into the mat, out through your right fingertips, grow an inch longer. Without the shoulder scrunching up toward the ears, just keep some space there between shoulder and ear. Press down into forearm, into the thigh, and take a bind if that feels good, looking up at the sky. Whatever your variation of the bind is. Some of you prefer to bind underneath. If that's available to you, you can take that. And when you're ready to release, pivoting and coming back to your lunge, hands frame that front foot. Step back into your plank pose, flow through your connecting sequence as you choose, slowly, mindfully with breath. So we're going to take it into a little balance play here. So on the next inhale, lift the right leg back behind you and step it through. And we're going to rise up into a balancing warrior one, which is just like the warrior pose you did before, except you're on the ball of your back foot, which makes it easier to square the hips. You want to find a neutral pelvis, so try to tuck the tailbone under so it roots straight down, so you've got that length in the low back. All right, so this is a balance practice just right here. Maybe this will be enough for you. If you want to take it into a balance flow, and I'm going to turn and face you. I'm going to mirror you right here. So you've got your right foot forward, hands to the sky, and you can open your wings into bird wings, crane wings. Take a little spring off the back foot and lift the left knee to hip height. So you find your crane. And maybe you want to just stay here in crane and dip your toe in the water if you need to for balance support. Or if you can come into a tree pose, whatever your expression of tree is, you can take that. Hands in prayer. Or hands to the sky, opening your fingers like buds, like those leaves that are opening and getting green right now. Rooting tailbone straight down, knee straight out to the side so your hips are nice and open. If you want to take this into another challenge, you can bring the palms into reverse namaskar behind your back. So play with whatever feels fun and challenging for you in your tree. Or maybe that's just taking the sapling pose with your toes supporting you on the earth. Just enjoy the hip opening benefit here. And we're going to take it into another balance play. So releasing your leg in slow motion, let that left leg straight back behind you. You're going to come hinge at the hips and come into a balancing warrior 3 here. Maybe taking the block and pressing your hands into the outer edges of the block. I'll turn sideways here so you can see. So you want to have a long horizontal line through the whole back body, pressing out through the heel. And whatever your expression is of warrior 3, airplane arms, hands to the side, maybe that sword-like mudra with your pointer fingers right in front of you. Keep a little micro bend in the standing knee so you don't hyperextend. And then from here, let's take another breath to play here. And then from here, float the back foot down so that you come into preparation for Parshvatanasana, which is a standing runner stretch. My feet, notice how I'm not in a stance that's as wide as a lunge. The feet are about 2/3 the length apart as you would be in a lunge. Back toes just turned out slightly, hips squared to the front, so try to level your hip creases with one another. Both feet are flat. So if your heel is lifted behind you, that means you might need to come into a little shorter stance. You can use your block if that helps you steady yourself, flat back here. And perhaps pressing into the feet to rise up and bring your hands either to the prayer position in front of the heart or hands back behind you in the traditional expression of this pose. Hands in prayer behind the heart, coming into a flat back. Flat back, so your parallel line through your spine. Both feet are flat, rooting down. It's okay to use your hands on your blocks if that supports you better in this pose. Just want to stay long from root to crown. If it's available to fold a little closer so that your knee comes toward your shin, belly toward that front thigh, you can do that. It's a really nice hamstring stretch here. And then if you want to take it into a revolved triangle pose, sometimes it's helpful to have a block. I like to use a block on the flattest setting on the inside of that front foot. So you've got your right foot forward, and just put the block on the inside of the left foot. Square your hips, and first get that core lift to support your spine. So you've got a flat back here, and then lift the right hand to the sky. Keep your hips square, coming into revolved triangle, Pavrita Trikonasana. Long from tail to crown. Long from lower hand to upper hand. And release. And then stepping back, flow through your connecting vinyasa. Meeting in down dog. We'll take that sequence on the other side, starting with left leg rising back behind you. Maybe kick your own asana if you want. Step it through when you're ready. Coming into your balancing warrior. So I'll turn and face you, mirroring you. You've got your left foot forward. So I'll be your mirror just for this part. And opening your wings into crane wings. Take that graceful, springing into flight. Keeping your right knee lifted at hip height. Keep your elbows soft, your shoulders soft, your wrists soft, so there's a sense of elegance and ease and gracefulness. Make sure if you need to, you can just dip your toe in the water if you are unsteady in your balance. And if it's available to you, coming into your Vrikshasana, the tree pose. Remember here, you're going to press, if you're pressing your sole of your foot inside your thigh here, press hard. Firm up the trunk of your tree. Press hard so that that knee goes straight out to the side and you get that lovely hip opener. Play with variations here. Hands in prayer behind your heart, maybe as one variation. Or opening your branches wide. Focusing your gaze on a spot on the floor, maybe a spot in the center of your screen. It's actually better to focus on a spot that doesn't move. And we're going to take it right into that warrior three. So release the leg and in slow motion hinge at the hips and see if you can come into that one long line. Your shoulders are in line with the hips. Your foot pressing back is in line with the hip. And you also want to take, you want to try to level your hips here. Because often what happens is people on the lifted leg try to inadvertently lift the hip high. So try to bring your hips level and internally rotate the thigh on the lifted leg, which is your right leg, I believe. And so that the knee and the toes point straight down. Or you could point your toes back if you prefer. But you want to have that knee pointing straight down. And find your play here, either airplane arms, hands to the side, hands reaching forward. Keep a little micro bend in the standing knee and the left knee. Find that one long horizontal line through the back body, including the back of the neck. And when you feel complete with this play, you can float that back leg down, the lifted leg down. So you're coming into a 3/4 length stance, preparing for Parshvattanasana. Use blocks if that's more comfortable. You can even turn the blocks to the highest setting. To find that flat back, square your hips. And from here, if you want to press into your feet and rise up, you can either stay there or bring the hands in prayer in front of the heart or behind the heart if that's available. Another option is grabbing opposite elbow here. Keep a strong core here as you fold forward, either staying halfway flat back from tail to crown or folding over the legs or the front leg so that your torso and your left thigh stay connected. Reach in the crown, down and away in front of you. Feel your hamstrings come alive here. And then releasing the hands, preparing for your revolved triangle pose. First, make sure you square the hips and take that flat back and lengthen out through the crown of your head. Find the horizontal axis from tail to crown and the vertical axis from your lower hand to your upper hand. And when you're ready to release, and step back into plank last time through the vinyasa, your choice. So maybe it's going to be that child pose, or if you have energy, maybe you want to take one more chaturanga to up dog to down dog. And then from here, just to come full circle, walk or hop the feet between the hands. fold in a forward bend. And this time we'll roll up. Just soften the knees and we'll roll up one vertebra at a time. Stacking bone on bone. Letting the head come up last, letting the hands open skyward. Palms meet overhead. And draw them back to the heart. Once again, taking refuge in presence. Meeting uncertainty with aliveness and alertness and creativity. Wow. That was quite a sequence, everyone. That was amazing to see you following along there. Let's come onto our back. Let's take it down onto the mat. So draw your thighs in toward your belly. Wrap your hands around your folded legs as an embrace. And if it feels good, you can do a little rock and roll on the spine, which could be hands behind the knees, keeping the chin tucked so that your upper back rounds and you can roll a little better. Or it just could be hugging the thighs in and then letting them go, hugging them in, letting them go, and that at least lifts and lowers the low back. So you get a little spinal massage around the lumbar and sacrum area. So do it to the depth that you're comfortable. If you want to take that rock and roll a little bit more vigorous, in a vigorous way, you can grab opposite big toes as you cross your ankles and let your feet come overhead. And just massaging all of the different chakra points along your spine. Just going up to the shoulders, though. We're not going to go on to the head. So keep your chin tucked. Don't forget to breathe. And then settle onto your back, rock side to side. Bring your hands to your knees and just take a moment to just massage your hips with some hip circles. And here, because we're focusing on the hip joint, you want to stir that hip joint with the head of the thigh bone. So circle the knees wide apart, open, and then draw them back together. Inner thighs come together. Press the knees away and open them wide. So the knees are making circles in opposite directions. And then circle the other way. And then from here, once again, hugging into an embrace, I'm going to invite you to take a couple of minutes to explore whatever inversion feels appropriate for you, which could be legs just straight up in the air, to allow the lower extremities to release the blood and fluids down the legs, back toward the heart. Maybe taking a block right underneath the sacrum area to give yourself a little bit more lift in the hips. Or taking it into full shoulder stand and plow sequence. Some of you may have a headstand practice that you want to take now. If you're comfortable with that, you can do that. I just went through my sequence kind of in fast forward, but you take your time. Plow can be done with straight legs or bent knee, if that's more available to you, a soft plow pose. And you want to just keep your hands supporting on either side of your spine when you do plow, if your feet don't touch the floor. If you can get your toes curl under and get your heels pressing back and feel really firmly rooted with your feet on the floor, then you can try clasping your hands in Yoga Mudra, tucking your shoulder blades a little closer together, straightening your arms, kind of the way you do in bridge pose. And taking your plow pose. In plow, see if you could lift your sitting bones straight up to the sky. Some of you who've been practicing with me for a while like to take the sequence from plow right into bridge pose, 1 foot at a time. So if you want to take that, bridge is also a nice option for an inversion as well, as the hips are higher than your heart. We'll be coming into bridge together in a moment, so no rush. Take another couple of moments to explore upside down, allowing the organs in the abdominal cavity to reverse gravity, get some of the blood and fluids to release. And some of the stagnation there it kind of stirs up and brings energy and life force to all those organs that sometimes can get very compressed in the lower part of your abdominal cavity. It's kind of fun looking at the screen. I just see people's feet sticking up in the air. I just see a whole bunch of feet. So begin to find your way out of your upside down exploration. And those of you who are comfortable moving right from shoulder stand plow right into bridge can take that. Otherwise, you can come back onto the mat with your back settled onto the mat. Set up your feet in preparation for bridge so the heels are in line with your sitting bones, close to the buttocks. Hands down by your side, walk your fingers toward your feet. And on the inhale, roll up the spine, 1 vertebra at a time. So you're going to lift your lumbar. We're going to lift the sacrum first and then roll the lumbar spine up, middle back. See if you can get your upper back off the mat. And heart spreads, press the top of the chest toward the chin. Get the hips higher than the heart. And if it's available to you, you can tuck your shoulder blades toward one another. Clasp your hands in that yoga mudra. Press the backs of the hands or the outside edge of the hands down into the mat. Press down into the feet. Lift the hips. Spread the heart. Breathe deeply in and out through the nose. Setu Bandhasana, bridge pose. Keep that ujjayi breath going, that gentle narrowing of the airway, so that that ocean sound whispers in the back of the throat. To release bridge, when you're ready to come out, first unclasp the hands and roll down from the upper back 1 vertebra at a time. So take your time, do it in slow motion rolling down the middle back, like you're lowering down that string of pearls, one pearl at a time. Until the whole low back, sacrum settles down onto the mat. Take a moment to reconnect with your breath, maybe giving yourself another embrace in Apanasana. We're going to take bridge one more time. This time I'm going to invite you to try a bridge pigeon mashup. And some of you, if you're needing to do this in a gentler, with a little support, a gentler variation of this, you can place a block, maybe in the middle, lowest or medium setting underneath your sacrum to do this. Taking supported bridge as we do this. If you want a little bit more vigorous practice, you can do it freestyle. Inhale, lift up into your bridge pose. Support yourself by clasping your hands if that's available. Hip pointers lift, hips higher than the heart, heart higher than the head. And then press down into the left foot. Let the right foot go straight up so that leg is perpendicular to the body. Vertical leg, press up. See if you can do this without letting your hips sink down. See if you can do this in a seamless way without losing the integrity of your bridge pose. And then from here, we'll bend the knee and rotate that right knee outward, come into figure four, like a supine pigeon. But your hips are still lifted in bridge pose. Hip pointers level. The rotated knee, the right knee, is level with the left knee. So you really get that opening in the hips. Lift, 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 lift. Breathe and enjoy. Ujjayi breath. Releasing the hands, roll down. Keep your figure four legs. So now you've rolled down and your low back and sacrum is on the mat, but you still have that hip opening posture here with a supine pigeon. Draw your left thigh in, clasp your hands either behind your left thigh or around your shin on the left side, and rotate, open, press away your right knee toward the end of your mat. Hug your left thigh in. Do that until you feel the juice in the glutes on the right side. Yum, yum, yum. Breathe and enjoy. And then release. Bring your feet back to set up for bridge pose. We're going to roll up one more time in your bridge. Hands down by your side, rolling up. Lift the hips. If you need to place a block, you can do that. Otherwise, once you get into your high lifted bridge with the hips nice and high, press the left foot to the sky. Leg goes straight up. Keep those hips from sinking down. Keep that bridge shape. Press, press, press. Breathe. Oh, yeah. You're going to feel this. This is going to be strong. You're going to feel it strong in your right thigh. Taking it into figure four, just above the ankle meets the right thigh. Rotate the hips open. Keep the hip pointers level with one another. Bring the outside edge of your right knee down toward the mat. Just feel and enjoy that lovely hip opener. One more breath here. Unclasp your fingers, roll down. Keep the legs in the same position and just draw your right thigh in toward your belly. Thread your left hand through the space between your legs. Draw your right thigh in toward your belly. Either clasped behind your thigh or around your shin on the right side. Supine pigeon, figure 4. Let that whisper sound in the back of the throat as you engage a soft Ujjayi breath. Be a continual calling you back home to the refuge of the present moment. Release your pigeon, your supine pigeon. And maybe here you'd like to take a happy baby, if that feels good. Otherwise, just hug your knees in toward your chest, maybe rock side to side. Happy baby, you can grab your feet either by your big toes, by your outside edge of your feet, or even inside edge of your feet, or ankles. Soles of the feet face to the sky. Draw the knees down on either side of the rib cage. And one of the things to remember in Happy Baby is you want to point your tailbone straight back to the short end of your mat and try to lower your sacrum down toward the mat. So you're really flattening the whole low back area here. It's a wonderful stretch for the low back. And bringing the inner thighs together. I'm going to invite you to take a reclining twist of your choice. You may want to take, if you wrap your legs in eagle legs, you can take the twisted root if you wrap the right thigh over the left, and maybe you can hook your ankles, let your palms come down, shoulder height, hands reaching away from you, and let the knees come down to the left as your gaze turns toward the right. If twisted root feels too strong a twist for you, then you can just bring your knees into an L shape and take a revolved abdomen twist. Knees come to the left, gaze turns, head turns toward the right, maybe even drawing the hips a little over toward the right so that your spine is lined up straight along your mat. And softening the right shoulder down into the mat. So take the expression of a reclining twist that feels good for you. Coming back up to center. Either wrapping the legs the other way or just bringing them into L shape and letting the knees come down toward the right, gaze turns toward the left. And what typically happens when you come into a twist is your spine will go crooked a little bit. So you can adjust actually by either scooching your hip under a little bit toward the left, or walk your shoulders toward the right a little bit so they're actually in line with your hips. And melt the left shoulder down into the mat, the back of the left shoulder into the mat. Let your gaze turn toward the left. If you are in with your legs in an L shape and there's space in between your knees, you can place a blanket or a block in between your knees so you can really relax into this twist. Just letting long, slow, sweeping breaths move through you. you're ready to release from this twist, before we come into Shavasana, let's take a few moments in supine bound angle. Supta Baddha Konasana. So bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees splay out like a diamond. And if you need to place blocks underneath your thighs for support, you can do that, or even just place your hands, your fists, underneath the outside of your thighs for a little support. Otherwise, just let the shape of the pose invite a stretch in the inner thighs, an opening in the hips. This is actually energetically a posture where we open to allowing ourselves to be vulnerable. Your hands can either be on your belly, just touching into the natural rising and falling of the belly with the breath, or you can let your hands open in goddess arms with elbows bent and the backs of the hands to the floor in reclining goddess. Or maybe you want to take one hand to the low belly, one hand to the center of the chest, and follow that wave of breath with those long Dirga breaths, long breaths, 3-part breaths. It begins in the belly, expands into the rib cage, and then lifts all the way up into the chest. Exhale, empty the chest, empty the ribs. Let the belly empty, and just gently pull the navel in to completely release the breath. Who knew that uncertainty could be such a wonderful doorway into aliveness and creativity? So let's cultivate that on the mat and off the mat. If you're comfortable here in your supine bound angle or reclining goddess, and you want to stay in that pose for the next few minutes as we integrate all of the asana flow, the whole asana flow that we've explored today, you can stay there. Otherwise, you can transition into your Shavasana, perhaps putting a bolster or rolled up blanket underneath your knees or a blanket over you. So either transitioning to Shavasana or staying in this open-hipped, reclining pose. Let your eyes close and release control of the breath. Release your ujjayi and just let the breath find its own natural rhythm. And I'd like to offer you this beautiful, very ancient mantra, which is asking God God to show us, to help us to remember that which is beyond, the beneath and bigger than everything that happens in this constantly changing world. It's asking us to touch into that which is changeless, that which is deathless. That which in an ever-changing, constantly changing world we can put our full 100% trust in. Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Vargamiva Bandhanam Richur Mukshiyamamritat Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Vargamiva Bandhanam Richur Mukshiyamamritat Om Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Vargamiva Bandhanam Richur Mukshiyamamritat. And slowly let your breath begin to deepen. And invite some movement into the fingers and toes. And let the head move side to side. And maybe if you like to take a long stretch, like you're just waking up, reach the hands back behind you, the toes forward. Take a big breath in. Celebrate your aliveness with this breath. Exhale, float the arms down by your sides and hug your knees in. Give yourself an embrace. And rolling over onto one side into your fetal position. Finding that primordial yoga pose. And slowly press yourself up to a seated posture, your yoga asana. It's the original meaning of the word asana is seat. And coming full circle to where we began with the long spine and open heart. Turn your palms up on your lap in that gesture of receiving and in gratitude for all the benefits of your practice. Notice if anything has shifted for you. Notice what's been freed up, what's been released, what's been opened, what's been stimulated and awakened. Just notice what's true for you. And to close, I'll offer you these words from Dana Folds, a wonderful poet, her book called Breath of Joy. This is called Healing Journey. Go gently into this good day, appreciating the play of opposites, the way sunlight chases frost crystals off the grass blades as dawn melts into morning. Take the one step you can take right now. Open to whatever comes, whether it meets your expectations or shatters them into 1,000 sparkling shards. Go gently into this good day, faith rising to the occasion, fear receding just enough to reveal the next step on your healing journey. Let's join palms at the heart, and together, taking a deep breath in, let's exhale and share the sound of Om together. Namaste.